and welcome to
the first fish video starring Kayla.
Yay!
We're here today to talk about how the tank has been in our home now for 1 full year.
1 year.
It was quite the dramatic move, but the tank has been here just over a year, and the rocks are almost 4 years old from the previous tank as well.
And rocky.
So let's get into some of the good, the bad, and some of the big changes that we've made. As far as changes go, I'll put a link in the description to the previous video I made about Kalkwasser, because that's probably the biggest change we've made so far. Now let's dive deep into this tank.
And now we're going to talk about how Kyle first got the tank, where he got it. Long Island.
Yes, we went, Nick and I, Kayla didn't come for this trip.
No, I don't like car rides.
Borrowed a pickup truck from a friend, went all the way to Long Island. I bought the tank because the glass shortage made getting a new tank near impossible. Well, or the huge delay, which ended up ultimately not mattering, but I got a good deal on this 180, and we went out to Long Island. We loaded it, it just barely fit in the pickup. We got a 6-foot bed, which I think is actually like 6'2". The tank shut. We had the tank on one side, the stand next to it, and a moving blanket up against the tailgate, and just click.
And then when they got here, all I saw was a truck on my lawn.
Well, that was step 2. First, we brought it to my mother's. Remember? It lived in her basement.
Oh yeah.
Till we were ready to move in, because we had to get the floors redone first. Why put the tank in and then redo the floors? So we've moved the tank twice. It went into the basement, didn't fill it, didn't do anything, just cleaned it up. Then I had another friend who I paid in corals to help me pick it up again, and he backed his truck right down my front walkway, right up to the porch, and we carried the tank into the living room, and now here we are. It was quite a process. We actually ended up moving the tank around the house a couple times while waiting for the sump in order to get set up. I added an electrical circuit in.
Shout out to Mark.
For the sump. We'll get back to the sump. I should have a video on that. If not, I'll re-upload it. It might be from the old channel. I don't remember.
Mark!
And so the tank ended up in the dining room while I added a Ethernet line and the new circuit. And then I rebraced the stand to give it a little extra support. And now it's all set up for the last year. In this video from 3 years ago, you can see we've had most of these fish for that long. I wanted to quickly share with you guys how I moved everything, including you can see some of these corals encrusted on rocks. I ended up putting barrels together, or I guess totes, and draining some of the tank water out of the old tank, moving the rocks into the bucket submerged, and drove the 2 miles from my mother's house to our new home, and repeated this process over and over again until everything was moved. It took me, I don't know, maybe 2 hours. It wasn't terrible, actually, and it went very well. And I did the same for the fish after. Welcome to the sump, for those who haven't seen it. This came from Milev's Reef, or Mark Levinson. There were a couple understandable delays, which was not a problem at all because it allowed me a little extra time to put more thought into this setup. So the sump has the return section over here with dual returns and filter floss that is due for changing. Skimmer section, which then overflows through the heaters with this awesome heater bracket also made by Mark. I've got cooling fans up here for when the temperature gets a little hotter in the house since we don't have central air. The return section here in the middle, and on the right is the refugium, which has a throttle valve so I can adjust how much flow goes through the refugium. This sump has been fantastic. It is exactly what I had asked for. Mark and I spent a little time discussing kind of some of the needs and style of reefing we were going to do here, and it came out fantastic. You can also see the outlet for the calc stirrer here. I won't get in too deep about it, but that's being fed off of an Ecotech Versa And the biggest change was Calc-Losser. Originally, I was running primarily the calcium reactor, which is still in here. It has water going through it, but as of right now, the CO2 is actually turned off, and I'm running Calc-Losser only. I had the ATO bucket here as well, and after almost a year, carrying 5-gallon buckets up and down stairs got really old, really fast, since my RODI is in the basement. So I used the Cat 6 outlet I had. I pulled the jack out of the wall, and I was able to snake a line down into the basement to pull directly from the RODI tank, which is what this white tube here is. And then the larger white tube is for the ATO if needed. So this is the current sump setup. Things have evolved a little bit, but the sump itself has been fantastic.
And now we're going to talk about my favorite part.
Graham cracker.
Oh, no, I was just saying the fish in general.
Oh, not graham cracker.
So we had a good amount of fish when we first moved here. Our OGs, who are our OGs?
Cedric.
Cedric and Hagrid.
She names all the fish.
I do.
Don't look at me.
That's how I contribute in this hobby, by naming things. Anyway, okay. Okay. So, we had the reef chromies at first.
Yep, we cycled with reef chromies and damselfish.
In the first tank.
Mm-hmm.
And then our newer additions are our black clownfish. They're misbarred because that's how I pick out fish that are kind of defective. And these are our clownfish. They don't really have names. They laid eggs recently, but they didn't survive. Probably due to the fact that we have an eel.
We did find the eel trying to chomp down on their eggs. But the female clownfish, she is quite aggressive. She beats the eel up on a regular basis.
Yes. I thought clownfish were like sweet, you know, non-aggressive fish, but they proved me otherwise. That purple, right?
Yep, yellow-eye coal tang.
Yes, that is Cedric. He was one of our OGs. Then we have some reef chromies there. That's Mildred. Mildred.
6-line wrasse.
Yes.
That is quite active and out and not a bully.
No.
Even though they're typically aggressive, but maybe we gave her enough room.
Oh, there's Graham Cracker.
Oh, let me get him.
Graham Cracker. So we got him when he was incredibly tiny. He wasn't even like, how many inches do you think he was?
Maybe 8, but he was skinny like a pencil. Where'd he go?
I don't know.
He backed up.
And when we first got him, long story short, he fell down the drain in the sink.
Yes, the kitchen sink while trying to transfer containers.
Yes, so he ended up in the trap in dirty water. Now he's doing good. What is he, like a foot now?
Oh, he's got to be. Let's see if he comes all the way out.
I don't know. Oh, there he is. So his name is Graham Cracker, and I know Mark absolutely hates his name, but that's okay.
Does this look like an eel? Does this look like an eel? Does this look like an eel? Does this look like an eel?
He's just, I don't know. He can't, I mean, eels can't see.
There you go. Now
Oh, there you go.
Whole length.
I always wanted a snowflake eel. It was either an eel or a puffer, and Kyle always says that puffers aren't reef safe, so I had to just go with the eel.
No, I like my corals too much, as you guys can see on the frag racks as well. While we're here, we might as well talk about some of the coral losses. There were, as you can see here, this whole thing was filled in, and for an unknown reason, we started having SPS die off. It was only the Acropora. All the Montipora survived, so I have since started replacing those. I've got this nice piece of Walt Disney that I managed to frag off before it died and put in the nano. So this chunk is growing back, and we'll have to put that in a good spot soon too.
These are the reef chromies that we use to cycle. And there's Hagrid.
The powder brown tang.
Yep, Hagrid. Absolutely love him. And then there's Foxy back there. He's a giant chicken.
He's afraid of the camera.
He could be.
We've also gotten into rock flower anemones.
It's currently inverted right now.
Well, that one is, and then this one I picked up at Reefapalooza. Now there's our triggerfish. Probably part of the reason for all this algae, as you guys know, I've been struggling with it, is the eel and the triggerfish are probably doing a number on the cleanup crew. But that's what I've got 4 tuxedo urchins for. And some of the Pride and Joy livestock as well. We've got this giant purple stylophora colony here.
Wasn't that one of your first corals?
Probably, actually. It was early on. I'll add a little picture of
It was a frag. Yeah.
When we first moved it into this tank even a year ago, it was like maybe a 4-inch mini colony, sort of. If you even want to call it a colony at that size. And now this is... Do I have a tape measure handy? It's got to be... I mean, my arm for reference, sort of. This purple Montipora's encrusted out. I'll have to trim that back. And then this Monty cap over here has been growing wild too, with the bird's nest as a crown.
Oh, that's really cool. I just noticed.
How did you just notice that?
I don't know. That's really cool.
The only thing we got to do is this Hollywood Stunner's got to go. For those of you who don't know,
This?
yes, Hollywood Stunner Chalice is incredibly aggressive. It has stinging tentacles that have done a number on the edge of this Montipora, and now algae's growing on the Montipora where it died.
You got this as a little frag too.
Yeah, and I regret it.
Worldwide Corals, I think you got it?
Is that where I got that? No, I might have gotten that from Pet's Place too.
No, I think it was Worldwide Corals. I remember you
Oh.
getting the frag in.
I regret that. There's only 2 corals I think I ever regret. That, and there's still a little bit here. I don't know if we can see it. Galaxia.
I thought you liked the Galaxia.
I did, until I realized it stings things. So, I've been actually using the Aptasia X while I hunt down all the Aptasia on the Galaxia. Hi, Cedric. In order to kill it back because it was hurting SPS before as well. So, definitely a lot of lessons learned here.
Okay, so Kyle kind of went through everything that he spoke about.
Some lessons learned, corals we didn't like and should have avoided.
And there's probably like other things that I forgot about because
There's a lot there really
yeah.
There really is a lot going on here. These bigger tanks do get complicated as much as I try to simplify it and automate everything that I can. It's still, she's always yelling at me, stop touching the tank, stop meddling, why are you fiddling with that?
So I have to say, I think it was that Neptune that you got.
Oh, that's been great.
He doesn't really test the alkalinity anymore.
She used to make fun of me. Oh, you gotta test the alkalinity.
Yes, but
I tried it.
yes, that thing is actually pretty cool. But what I wanted to say was when I first met Kyle, he had the BioCube.
Just the bio.
Yes. Yep. And I knew nothing about saltwater fish. At the time, I think I had like a beta. That was like my extent of like fish anything. And then I met him, and I have never met anyone so passionate about their hobby.
We like fish in this house.
Yes. But he is so passionate. Like, honestly, I think these fish are like his children.
You name them all.
I do. I name them all.
This tank has been a team effort.
Yes. And I really find it impressive, like the whole hobby. Like, there's just so much that goes into it. It's not like you're plopping a few fish in and you're like, ah.
Saltwater and freshwater, 2 totally different ball games. I mean,
yeah.
You can get that nuts with freshwater too. I've seen guys with planted tanks with CO2 injection systems. You can totally go that nuts, but you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to go this nuts either with saltwater, but here we are.
Yeah. But I feel like if you are really into this hobby, you have to be dedicated. And you are definitely dedicated. And when he was away on vacation, I panicked because I forgot what happened with the, what was that, the skimmer? I don't know what it was. Something overflowed. Something did something. And Mark and Amy helped me out. But I know how much this tank means to him, so I really didn't care.
Hey, you kept it alive while I was gone for. I was gone for almost 10 days. She had access to the Apex software, which was great, so that she could see.
I still have it
what
downloaded.
I could see. The remote monitoring was really good too because then I could keep a little eye on it, which made me feel a little better.
Yeah.
And that was before that I got the Trident too. That was my birthday present to myself after that trip.
Yes. Yes.
Which also bought from Lives Reef. Not sponsored, I just like Mark. Mark's a good guy.
I like Mark. We'll keep Mark. But I think it's very inspiring that you're so dedicated to this fish tank, to the other tank. I just think it's a great hobby, and
we've met some good people in this
we
hobby.
met some really good people too.
We went to Reefapalooza. Well, you came with me last year. You couldn't come this year.
Yes. We have Fish Mom Stacy. Fish Mom. But
Eel Lady Amy.
yes. Can't forget Amy. And then Mark. Duh. But, yeah, I don't know. I've never been on one of these videos before, obviously. So, just come.
The other half of our logo is finally here.
Okay.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment if there's more content you'd like to see. And we'll catch you next time, fish friends.
Oh, God, that wasn't scripted.
I don't think she's reef safe.